Fusion, welcome to our new series this week called Love and Hate. Happy to have Whitney here with us, being able to sing and lead us in worship. And so we're going to go into this time of singing now with this new song called Even When the Fight Calls, and it's by Hillsong Young and Free. So I hope this song speaks to you the same way it's spoken to me. Overcome this world with love and make my fight your own. And I lift my eyes and throw fear aside and sing out into the night. 'Cause even when the world caves, even when the fight calls, even when the wars wage, I'll take heart. I know you are greater, forever you are Savior. I will sing your praise with all that I have, with all that I am, Lord. I'll stare down the waves, 'cause you own the tide. I still my soul and know you wait for me on waters wild, where faith walks above the storm. 'Cause even when the world caves, even when the fight calls, even when the wars wage, I'll take heart. I know you are greater, forever you are Savior. I will sing your praise with all that I have, with all that I am, Lord. With all that I have, with all that I am, Lord. And I won't let the storm wither my heart. Won't let the darkness beat me down. Sing in the night, my hope alive in you. And I'll walk through the fire and not be burned. Pray in the fight and watch it turn. Jesus, tonight I give it all to you. Sing that. I won't let the storm wither my heart. I won't let the darkness beat me down. I'll sing in the night, my hope alive in you. I'll walk through the fire. I'll walk through the fire and not be burned. Pray in the fight and watch it turn. Jesus, tonight I give it all to you. 'Cause even when the world caves, even when the fight calls, even when the wars wage, I'll take heart. I know you are greater, forever you are Savior. Sing your praise with all that I have, with all that I am, Lord. With all that I have, with all that I am, Lord. God, I pray in this time that as we go into the message, that you would speak to us now. Tell us how you want us to love those around us better. Teach us how you want us to have a heart more like you. Ask all these things in your name. Amen. Fusion, it is good to be with you in this digital space again. I know last week was a tough week for Sydney and I, and it's been a tough week for a lot of you guys. But here's a couple of things I want you guys to know before we jump in to this new sermon series and to this new sermon. I want you to know again that I love each and every one of you, and that over the next couple of weeks, I'm going to be doing everything that I can to reach out to some of you individually and reach out to some of you leaders, and to kind of help us have a new plan for what's going to be coming next. And I want you guys to know yet again that City and I, love you and care for you, and we're still here for you, and hopefully we can maybe see each other in person at some point, before this is all done. But I hope you guys are also staying safe and washing your hands and doing all that. So this week I'm really excited about this sermon series. It's called Love and Hate. So it's kind of all about this idea of what does it mean to really truly love one another and truly love the people around you. So we live in a world where we use the words love and hate pretty loosely, right? For example, you may say you love Lucky Charms, but you hate Justin Bieber. You may say that you love Marvel movies, which I do, and you hate cats, which I sort of do. I'm allergic to them, so there is a love-hate relationship with cats. But you get the idea. We live in a love-hate culture. Love is a big deal to us, right? Most of the biggest movies in theater have a love story attached to them. A lot of the songs on the charts are love songs. Americans alone spend $20.7 billion on Valentine's Day. Let's think about that again. $20.7 billion. That's hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars on Love Valentine's Day. In the church, we talk about how God loves us and how you should love one another. But here's the thing. On the other hand, we live in a culture that loves to hate on other people or their ideas, right? So we make fun of celebrities, or we make fun of TikTok stars. We even hate people in our own lives, in private chats most of the time. We may not say them out loud, but most of us have opinions on everything and everyone. So if love is such a big deal, why does hate, and specifically hating on people, seem to be such a natural part of our lives? So there's a lot we could all say about the different ways people hate on each other, but because we have limited time together, we're only going to focus on one of these today: gossip. Today we're going to be talking about gossip. Now before you roll your eyes and think, those people are the worst, I'm hating on anybody who hates on somebody else by gossiping, just hear me out for a second. Adults are just as bad about gossiping, maybe even worse than teenagers. But you have to admit that high school and middle school makes gossip easier, right? Think about it. Think about this. You're in the same place all day long. It's super boring sometimes, and talking about people makes things interesting. Because everybody is talking all the time, it's easy for people's worst moments to come up in conversation. So the situations you're in kind of make for gossip to be easier. And you may be thinking, I don't talk about other people, but I do know people who do all the time. But the truth is, we all do. We all do this. When it comes to gossip, we all need to take a long look in the mirror and ask ourselves if we contribute to this form of hating. I mean, with all the things we have going on in our lives, with being as busy as we are, why is it so easy to spend our precious free time talking about other people? Why do all of us have such a strong attraction to trash talking, gossiping, or spilling the tea about people, right? That's every so often I'll look over at Sydney and she's sipping some tea, looking at me like it's that what is it? What's the meme? What's the Kermit? Sorry, I had to look at Sydney on camera. It's the Kermit meme, where he's sipping the tea. But here's a few reasons why I think we do this, why we gossip and we trash talk. One is our insecurities. If we can point out what's wrong with other people, it helps us cover up what we feel insecure about in ourselves. It's easy bonding, right? It's like low-hanging fruit of bonding. Sometimes you get in these situations and, it's just really easy to hate on that one person or to share this, if you share this key bit of info about somebody, you feel like it makes, for some bonding. Fun, right? It's highly entertaining to be the first person to know details about some juicy situation or to be the one to share that. You think it's fun. And let's be real here with what I'm about to say. It gives a competitive advantage, right? Some of us just want to be the best, and we honestly are looking at ways that we can, rise up above other people around us. Truth is one. Sometimes we justify talking about people with the fact that we're talking about is actually true, right? Like we think it's okay because people we're talking about deserve it or they brought it on themselves. Like we just say like, man, it's facts, right? Facts. I'm just telling it like it is facts, like that's what we think. But then sometimes we also have innocent intentions, right? Sometimes we just have good friends that we share everything with. And sometimes everything includes everything about somebody else's bad decision. Like I already mentioned, gossip is not just a middle school, high school thing. It's a people thing, right? We all know adults who do this, teachers, coaches who share just a little bit too much information. And it isn't a guy-girl thing either. I want to be clear on this. We may call it something different, the trash talking or tea spilling, but when it comes to gossip, we're all a part of the conversation. If you were to go maybe play golf with some guys out there and you could be a fly on the wall, there's a lot of gossiping happening there. There's, we kind of talk about it as locker room talk sometimes as well, and that it's all the same. But when it comes to this, we're all a part of this conversation. There are shows, podcasts, YouTube channels dedicated to gossiping and hating on other people. Social media has made it easier than ever. Hello, subtweet. There are celebrities who are famous because people always gossip about them, Kardashians. They haven't released an album, acted in a movie, or invented anything world-changing, but they seem to be a trending topic all of the time. It's honestly kind of a weird time to be alive. But isn't it true that although gossip is naturally an accepted part of our culture, there's something inside of us all that we just kind of know that it's not good? I mean, if you've ever been talked badly about, then you know just how terribly it feels, right? It's not fun to be the subject of other people's conversations, especially when they don't have all the details or they don't even know you. For me, the only time I want people talking about me behind my back is if they're complimenting me, right? Anything else just hurts. It just hurts. When I was in high school, I kind of went through some of this myself. When I was in ninth grade, I hadn't really figured out like what my style was, and so I dressed super preppy. And there were people who gossiped. This is going to sound weird for some of you, but there were people who gossiped about my sexuality, who said, "Oh, he kind of dresses a certain way, so Palmer, we're not sure about him," and that hurt because that gossip got back to me, and it was a hurtful situation, and it honestly was super formative for my early years in high school. If you were to ask any of my friends, they know about this, that I went through this. You can ask Sydney. It was something that happened and went through. So gossiping was destructive to me very early on in high school. So everyone knows gossip is a bad thing when it's about them, right? But in a culture like ours, a culture that loves to hate on people and ideas, how is it even possible to stop? How is it possible to stop gossiping? Interestingly, someone who lived a couple of thousand years ago might have written some of the best advice on this particular topic. His name is Paul. And he's one of the most famous Christians to ever live, right? His life was dedicated to starting churches and telling people about Jesus. He would often write letters. We've talked about this. He would write letters to churches that he had planted. Eventually, some of those letters would become what we call books of the Bible. One of those letters is a book that we call Ephesians. It was written to a group of people in the ancient city of Ephesus, which was a bustling port city of culture, diversity, and diverse religions. It was a town full of a bunch of people with a bunch of differences. This type of setting was the perfect fuel for gossip. There was plenty to talk about and plenty to disagree with and plenty to judge. In fact, for the people Paul wrote to, Jesus followers, it would have been easy for them to judge what they saw in the people of that town, right? And it would have been super easy for them to gossip. But Paul wanted the Christians in Ephesus to operate differently than the culture. He wanted them to be, just different, So his letter is all about them as followers of Jesus living unique lives. Here's what he had to say. And this is from Ephesians 4:29. He said this, "Do not let any unwholesome talk come out of your mouths." In this one sentence, Paul makes it clear that unwholesome talk is not supposed to be a part of our lives. Now I get it. Some of us read that and we think it means we shouldn't cuss. And while that's a good idea, I think there's more to what Paul is saying than just don't use this specific set of words. This letter was originally written in Greek, and if we were to look at the original word for unwholesome in Greek, it's one of its meanings is rotten. And that, my friends, is a great word to describe what gossip is. Talk that rots. So I want to think about that. Gossip is talk that rots. Talking trash or gossiping, it rots friendships, relationships, and reputations. This isn't what we want to produce in our lives, right? We talk about fruits of the Spirit, other times joy, patience, peace, love, kindness, joyfulness, but we don't want to be people who produce rot, right? We don't want to be people who put out a rotten vibe. We don't want, we talk about vibes sometimes, and like no bad vibes, and this is the definition of bad vibes. When we talk about people or participate while someone else does, we're actually contributing to the rotting of some things that matter most to people around us. In fact, not only does it rot things around you, it might actually be an indication of some unwholesomeness inside of you, inside of me. Jesus himself talked about this. So this is in Mark 7, verse 15. It says this, it's not what goes into your body that defiles you. You are defiled by what comes out of your heart. According to Jesus, what comes out of you says a lot about what's within you. When you gossip, it shows something about you. More than the words you speak, it's about the motivation that causes you to say certain things or participate in certain conversations. It's an issue of the heart. So back to Paul, he gives us an alternative to the unwholesome gossip. He says this in Ephesians 4:29. We're continuing on with that verse. "Do not let any unwholesome talk come out of your mouths, but only what is helpful for building others up according to their needs, that it may benefit those who listen." We'll say this again. "Do not let any unwholesome talk come out of your mouths, but only what is helpful for building up others according to their needs, that it may benefit those who listen." In other words, if you choose to put the needs of others ahead of your own, and when you think about a person, about who a person is instead of just judging them, you'll stop yourself from gossiping. You'll think about them before you speak about them. Right? Like, we talk about this in some of the Bible studies and different things. There's a filtering process that happens here instead of just jumping right to the gossip. If you choose to build others up, care about their needs, and help them, you'll choose words that benefit them instead of words that bash them. I get that this is a lot easier said than done, right? It's a lot easier said than done. In a world where hating on people is a literal pastime and can be an actual career path, it's hard to be the guy or girl who chooses wholesome over unwholesome, right? But it's also one of the best decisions you can make. Why? Because what you say about others says a lot about you. How you talk about people says a lot about you, right? How many times have you guys heard someone say, like, it's maybe on a dating show, and the girl, she's like, I kind of like this guy, but I want to see what he says about his mother, how he talks about his mother. That's important, right? Think about it. When you know people who trash talk their friends and spread rumors or always have a mean joke to make about somebody, you know those people. And when you think about that person, you think about that part of them. It seems like hating on other people is what they're all about. And you probably know people who are the opposite, who refuse to hate on people, who walk out of the room when someone is gossiping. And chances are when you think about them, it's pretty positive. It's easy to respect people like that. So when it comes to your conversations, it isn't really a question of what to say or what not to say. The real question is this: what do you want to be all about? What do you want to be all about? Do you want to be known as someone who loves others or a hater? Someone who trashes people or builds them up? The good news is that you actually do have a choice. That's the good news today, is we have a choice, right? You get to decide who you want to be and what you want to be known for. You know, one of the things that it's saying right here is this: for those that follow Jesus, that's why God gives you the power to be different. You know, you haven't been in school in a while, and you're home, and I think this can be a time where you can reset some of those things. You can really decide who you want to be to your friends and to the people around you when you're able to be back around them. Just because gossip is fun, normal, or sometimes funny, doesn't mean it's worth it to participate in. Instead, you and I can choose to be about something else. We can seek the kind of reputation Paul talked about, right? One where we're known as people who use words to help others, build others up, and make their needs a priority. We simply choose love over hate. Think of it this way. Here's the big point for today. Let love be what you're all about. Let love be what you're all about. Of all the things we could be known for, let's start with the thing that Jesus said was the greatest: love. This starts way before words come out of your mouth, right? It starts with us deciding to care about other people no matter what they do. It then transfers to our words. We all have a way of deciding what we say. None of us would ever admit this, right? But deep down, we know we sometimes decide what to say by answering these questions, right? Will it make me look funny? Will it make me look cool? Will it make me look smart? And is it mostly true? That's sometimes how we think about what we're saying. But these filters often lead to unwholesome, rotten words. Before we know it, something rotten is spreading in our relationships. So here's the thing: we need a new question. And I really like the word Paul gives us because it ties in perfectly if we want to be people who are all about love. Here's the question: is this helpful? Is this helpful? Before you and I say anything, we should use this question. In fact, we can put it into practice immediately, like right now. The next moment, you can put it into practice. We can start today in our small group. We can start today with your family at home. All we need to ask is this: will these words be helpful? Will these build others up? Will they make someone's life better? When we use this filter of being helpful, it doesn't matter. When we use the filter of being helpful, it doesn't matter if the story is true, if the joke is funny, or the tea is particularly good. If it isn't helpful, it isn't worth our words. If it isn't helpful, it isn't worth our words. So if we choose to be all about love and use this filter, the words we should and shouldn't use will become very clear. It's actually pretty amazing how practical a filter that's 1,000 years old, or thousands of years old, is in today's world. So imagine this. Imagine for a moment if just those of us in this, in Fusion, those of us who are watching this video, we chose to let love be what we're all about. We chose to let love be what we're all about. What would happen at your school if just the people from this church refused to judge, to hate, to talk bad about, and to gossip? Imagine if we chose to be the people who use words to help and build others up. This would have an impact in literally every grade, every class, right? In fact, it may just change the view some people have on Christians. Imagine if Christians were known for being all about love instead of hate. How much more appealing would it be to follow God? How much more magnetic would the church be, right? How much more attractive would it be? How much more would people around us be willing to actually know Jesus if we acted like the thing that he said was most important, love, and we actually made that the most important thing? So here's the thing. All of us get to decide whether we'll be known for being about love or being someone who loves to hate. Let's let love be what we're all about. And in ending this, I really want to press in here for a second. Bullying is a real thing that we go through in our society and in our time. And cyberbullying and sort of being mean is just something that's so prevalent right now. And so what I want to say to you guys is that your words matter. Yes, your actions matter, but also your words matter. How you say things to people, how you say things to your parents, how you respond. It's something Sydney tells me over and over again. Palmer, your words matter, and how you say it matters. So what I want us to say is when we're choosing to be about love, we are choosing to build other people up with our words. We're choosing, when you're going to respond to your parents and when they ask you to do something, the way you respond brings love or it brings hate into the situation. Right? Like every single situation you come in contact with, every conversation is an opportunity to build love into this world. That's what it means when we talk about being light and being salt right now. That's what that means. So I encourage you guys to let love be what we're all about. Dear Heavenly Father, I thank you for this time and being able to talk about love and to talk about what that means for us. So I pray now that as we do another song of worship, that you would rule and reign in our lives, and that we would start to filter and process and ask, is it helpful? Is it going to build up? Is it going to be helpful? We love you, and we ask all these things in your name.
As we wait, seek your
Fusion. Thank you for being with us this week, and thank you for spending time with us in this digital space. Whitney and I are praying for you guys. Sydney's praying for you guys as well. And just know that we love you, and we hope that this was a great sermon on what it means to seek love and to speak hope into situations, and to be that person who decides for being a person of light in situations over being a person of hate and gossip. So I hope that this week you're able to be that in your households, in your group chats, and that you will speak positively of people and build people up with your words. Thank you guys. Have a great week.